podium on camera or off to the side if you prefer to remain off camera. Please remember to use only first names when introducing yourself. By participating in this meeting, you acknowledge that while we do our best to protect anonymity, we cannot control who may be watching the live stream. If you're not comfortable with this, we completely understand, and we encourage you to share in a way that feels safe to you. Thank you for your understanding and for respecting the traditions that keep our fellowship strong. We'd like to go ahead and welcome to the Hopper House Community AA meeting, everyone in the room and everyone that's online. Let's start with a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Are there any newcomers to tonight's meeting? Anybody here for the first time? Okay, welcome. Any announcements? No? Sober. Is anyone opposed to vaping? Good. Okay, who you see here and what you hear here, let it stay here. Let's keep profanity to a minimum for our spiritual principles. The donation basket is going to be passed around to keep up with our 7th tradition. Contributions will cover rent, utilities, and the delicious coffee. And I see a bunch of people with a cup in their hand. So that's what that's for. Go ahead, and if you can put something in there, we'd appreciate it. The AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. I have asked someone tonight to read how it works.
My name is Matt and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Matt.
Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates, they are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we can find an easier, softer way, but we cannot. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We ask his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. One, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory and when the wrong promptly admitted. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What in order? I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter 2, the agnostics, and our personal adventures before and after make clear three pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God couldn't.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Next, I've asked someone to read the 12 traditions. Dorian, excuse me, come up to the podium. Yes, sir, please. You can sit off to one side right there. Could everybody hear your name?
My name is Duran. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Number one, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. Number two, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. Number three, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Number four, each group should be unanimous, autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. Number five, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Number six, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Number seven, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Number eight, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever unprofessional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Number nine, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Number 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no option on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. Number 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Number 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles
Before personalities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Duran. Next, we're going to have somebody go ahead and bring tonight's topic to the meeting.
I'm Jonathan, and I'm alcoholic.
Jonathan.
It's page 82 in the book, if you want to open there. The second paragraph. It says, if we have no such complication, there's plenty we should do at home. Sometimes we hear an alcoholic say that the only thing he needs to do is keep sober. Certainly he must keep sober, for there will be no home if he doesn't. But he is yet a long way from making good to the wife or parents whom for years he has so shockingly treated. passing all understanding as the patients, mothers, and wives have had with alcoholics. Had this not been so, many of us would have no homes today and would perhaps be dead. The alcoholic is like a tornado roaring his way through the lives of others. Hearts are broken, sweet relationships are dead, affections have been uprooted, selfish and inconsiderate habits have kept home in turmoil. We feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. He is like the farmer who came up out of the cyclone cellar to find his home ruined. To his wife, he remarked, "Don't see anything the matter here, Ma. Aunt Gran, the wind stopped blowing." Yet there's a long period of reconstruction ahead. We must take the lead. Our remorseful mumbling that we are sorry won't fit the bill at all. We ought to sit down with the family and frankly analyze the past as we now see it, being very careful not to criticize them. Their defects may be glaring, but the chances are that our own actions are partly responsible. So we clean house with the family, asking each morning in meditation that our Creator show us the way of patience, tolerance, kindness, and love. Spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it.
Does anyone need for him to read that again?
82. Yes, I'm not going to say my whole life story, but I can't even tell you how many relationships I ruined. I'm sure all of us have, but and I got 2 beautiful daughters back in San Diego, you know what I mean? And I had everything made for me. I had a good career. I had a family that loved me. And, I threw that all away for drinking countless amounts of times. I went to rehab 3 different times. I think this is my 4th one. I relapsed 7 different times, but still trying. But it's I kept choosing the alcohol over and over again. It's like that, that insanity where we just keep coming back, and I made my mom cry so many times because my other sister was a heroin addict and an alcoholic too, and she just passed away recently, and I'm the only one she really has left because my other sister won't talk to her. And seeing her kid go being an alcoholic and drug addict back in San Diego and going to jail and almost dying when my other sister just died is soul crushing to her. And all these relationships that we've had and destroyed, it's I cry so many times, but it's I kept going back to the drink no matter what I wanted to do or anything. It's just that was my safe place was to just block everything out and be mind numbing. So shit's a deadly disease, and it says that we gotta have we have to have God. And I'm glad I found that over at the U-Turn for Christ. When I was here first, I really didn't give 2 shits about this program, to be honest. I just moved here from San Diego. I didn't want to do anything. I got a sponsor, but I wasn't working the steps. I was going out and getting high, and then I brought drugs back here, and drinking and stuff like that. So it's just I just got out of jail and went through a sober living home, and shit happened out there, which is why I got sent here. And then I did it again, as soon as I got here. So, it's just even more heartbreaking to my mom and stuff. But, once I went to the U-Turn, I found God and I had no distractions over there. And, ever since then, my life has become a lot better, and now I'm actually cleaning house and taking accountability for all the stuff that I've done. And, I'm a lot better person. I'm a lot happier. And, the devil, not trying to drag us down to hell, but he's kind of distracted us from heaven, so as long as we keep praying and believing in God, then, I promise, everything will be all right for us. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
We're going to go ahead and start to this side, and we'll be talking about the topic that came up. So we'll go this way and then through the chair.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn my lesson from sitting on that side eventually.
Well, ladies first.
My name's Amanda. I'm an alcoholic addict. So I didn't catch a lot of the topic, but I did hear them talk about destroying relationships. And I remember in my alcoholism and addiction, I would sit with my son, and he would come and sit on the curb with me, and I would tell him I don't want to end myself, but I'm tired of being alive. And he's like, I know, Mom, I know. And he would just be there with his arm around me and crying. And the other day he called me and he asked me how I had the willpower to put it down. And I told him, I really concentrated on these 12-step meetings that I go to and deciding that I had to give it to a higher power. And So my son struggles with marijuana, and he was just sharing, some things that he was going through, and he's gonna come out here on September 1st and spend his 21st birthday in the recovery center with his mama. So that he's not out there doing the stuff I was doing at 21 is a miracle in itself. So I know there's a higher power out there. When I came here and I didn't believe in much, I just believed that what goes up comes down, and trying to, the universe and energies and stuff like that. But as I started to really put my focus into the steps, that's where I learned that I have a higher power and he has a purpose for me. My purpose is not to die out there in the streets, drunk or high. So if you guys just sit all the way down and really put effort into the steps, the way that we put effort into our addiction and our alcoholism, it's gonna work. Like the higher power that I have doesn't have a purpose for us to be out there clueless and mindless. Like, we have a purpose in life, and it's gonna start right here in these rooms. So thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Amanda. Keep lifting.
My name is Bob. So today, 7/12/26.
Glad you're here.
Glad you're here.
Hands up.
I'm Sammy, I'm a member.
Sam.
I guess it was kind of the same thing. I ruined a lot of relationships, my kids, things like that too, behind drugs. But trying to work on it. I talk to him every day. He doesn't say much though, but at least he does that. But I'm working on it, and I guess the first step is since I got a job now, I'm paying bills. I guess that's a relationship I'm trying to keep too. So working on that.
Thanks, Sam.
Glad you're
Keep lifting, Zach.
October date, 7/10/26.
Keep lifting, Durant.
My name's Howard. I'm an alcoholic addict, and
Hey, Howard.
plea date 5/19/26. I've lost plenty of relationships and ruined plenty of acquaintances just because of my alcoholism and my drug use, and I don't miss that lifestyle, and I'm just grateful to be here and working my steps, and tell you what, if you work it, it works for you. That's all I got.
Thank you, Howard.
Thanks, Howard.
I'm Jesse Carson. I'm an alcoholic addict.
Jesse?
Hey. My addiction, I was doing bad on drugs. I was married for 17 years, and I got a divorce because she kept warning me, telling me to quit drinking. I wouldn't listen to her. And so I kind of lost my wife. I have a kid with her, but other than that, so that's why I'm here, trying to get clean, stay clean. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse.
My name is Cliff, and apparently I'm an alcoholic. I got the coffee all over me. You said something about me having 2 cups. And I got 2 cups with a hole in them. All right, my name is Cliff, and I'm alcoholic. My sobriety date is 7/11/2026, and about running through people's lives like a tornado. I've had to accept in my life that there's a lot of people that I hurt in ways that, like, I've apologized and I've tried to make amends to these people, and like, some people are just never gonna take those amends and ever gonna forgive you, and like, that's the thing that I've had to learn how to accept in my life, and to just move forward and treat those people the way I should have treated them to begin with, even though I could never expect them to trust me again. Maybe one day it could come, but I've been years sober before, There's just some people that aren't going to trust me anymore, and that's okay. And that's about all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Grant, Friday date, 5/28/26.
My name's Kenny. Next week will be my 60 days clean.
Yes.
And I'm just going to listen.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
I did.
I'm Nick. I'm an alcoholic addict.
And
I haven't had a home in over 20 years. I've been the tornado gave me a good home. I guess it's called the Four Seasons. It's been in prison 5 times. That's been my home, and I don't want that to be my home. And I'm just glad to be out and have a home. But I haven't had one for so long. I've been living on the streets, just doing my own thing. I had lots of relationship. I drank and did drugs. And I thought, why is my relationship keep ending? Got stabbed 5 times because I drank too much and, stuff happened. But I'm here, I'm clean, and thanks to everybody here for showing support. God bless everybody.
thank you, Dave.
I found some goddamn beer on the side of the road the other day. It was open, so, yeah.
Thank you, Jack.
Glad to hear it.
My name's Mike. Sober date is 6/25/26, and I'm just gonna listen.
Thanks,
Keep
Mike.
listening, Mike.
My name's Otis. I'm a member. Sober 6/30/26. Grateful to be here. Service.
Keep listening, Otis. Close it.
Where go you?
Oh. I was in my clean in 7/28/26.
Keep listening, Koza.
I'm Luke. I'm a drug addict and alcoholic. Hello, everybody. I got social anxiety really bad, and I've been in isolation doing drugs and alcohol, and I lost it. Everything. Been to jail, and I'm trying to build a better life. So that's why I'm here at the Hopper House and trying to break through, man. Have a breakthrough with social anxiety, being around people, and so that's why I even come up here. Man, and so I'm just working each and every day to try to have a good life, get a better life for me, for Lord Jesus, for me and the ones that love me. Thank you all.
Well,
Glad to hear it, brother.
doing the right stuff. Thank you.
I'm the rehab alcoholic, so today it's 7/28/26.
Ricky.
Keep listening.
I'm Will. I'm a recovery alcoholic.
Will. Keep listening, Will.
How you guys doing, Mike? Name's Antonio Baker. Sobriety date is anything of 3/19/2019. And tonight is what I would say a good night for me. I hope it's the same for you. We're coming from page 82. And from everything I get from this, I'll read 2 very small sections. It says, let's see. If we have no such complication, there is plenty we should do at home. Sometimes we hear an alcoholic say that the only thing he needs to do is to keep sober. Certainly he must keep sober, for there will be no home if he doesn't. And it's very true. Meaning, every time you hear somebody say, all I need to do is stay sober, very true. But for me, it's actually not staying sober. Or need to do is keep sober. It's to live sober. And that means to continue moving forward with your life without alcohol, because it does destroy you. You do lose friends. You lose first off, love from God and Jesus. You lose your family, your friends, your kids, especially your kids, children, and babies. And you just live in a way of sin or disgust. You may think that you're having the time of your life or you feel good, but you'll wake up with that hangover and you'll be sick. And it's not a good feeling at the end of the day, knowing that you lost everything for a bottle or alcohol. The next thing I read from this is it says, the alcoholic is like a tornado roaring his way through the lives of others. Hearts are broken, sweet relationships are dead, affections have been uprooted, selfish and inconsiderable habits have kept the home in turmoil. We feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. And that's, very important to understand that just like in California where I'm from, a wave or, a tsunami or earthquakes or where I live, right? I do know Texas or tornadoes, it destroys you. Alcohol or being an alcoholic, which I'm currently sober, and I do know there's tendencies to go back down that route. I hear my old associates or guys I went to school with, women I used to see, still partying, going that lifestyle, and that's their choice. I chose to, after serving my sentence since '97, not to do that. So I would rather be at home with my family and love than to be at the bar broke, point blank. And then the last part of what I'm going to say is, we feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. Well, that's true, but like I said, living sobriety is a different way than thinking of to keep sober, because keeping sober may or may not last long. And if you are an alcoholic, if you do have that problem or disease or whatever you want to call it, it's tough keeping sober. When you live sober and you hold yourself higher or accountable, there's no way of stepping back in that direction as long as you stay away from the people, places, and things, and the reality of being drunk or high. And living sober is what I'm going to do, and people, you should do the same. God bless.
Sober date 7/26/26.
Hello.
Trying my best, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
My name is Dennis. Dinner date is 7/21/26, and I'm blessed to be here.
Like you, Dennis.
My name is Theodore, and I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic. Sober date is 11/17/20. For that, I'm very grateful every single day. Man, I was looking at this, and it's step 5. And I remember doing my first step 5. I got to go through the steps again. But first, I got to write a whole list of 150 times if I don't know shit. And had a mental relapse. But, it's worth it. It's worth doing it again. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I was thinking of the first time that I did my 5th step, and it was a lot to, get down on paper on the 4th step, and then having to talk about it with somebody else. It's a humbling thing, bro, to have to speak about all that stuff. And, well, really it's so I can recognize it in myself is what I got out of it, so I can see, what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and who I'm doing it to. And, man, I don't know. Guess I'm just ready to keep my sobriety, bro, and the relationships that I have. It's not really very many people talking to me right now, but one person in particular that's very important to me is my son. And he's still talking to me. And that's pretty awesome, bro. I don't deserve it, but it's good whenever, whenever a loved one will still keep you in their life, man. And I really appreciate it after all the trash that I've done. Thanks for letting me share.
I'm Cricket. Recovery date is 1983. I'm still working on a lot of my defects. I grew up an addict, alcoholic, and disciplined families all around me. I thought that was a lifestyle for several years. I did everything my way only. It just one thing after another, just the chaos, messing over people, disrespect by habit. In and out of prison several times. I finally came to a decision. I will either go die addict or die in prison. I had to make a choice, change my life, leave it up to the higher power to guide the way, give me strength and hope and wisdom. I came a long ways. I've been out about 4 years this time. Became a leader, maintenance man, you name it. Doing real good. Recover. Until working on my defects. And at the Harbor House, gained a lot of trust here, a lot of support through all the leaders, directors, Chris and Brandy, Ryan, and all you gentlemen. Each and every one of your stories might be a little different, but we all came from the same thing. I lost all my family members. I always told them, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna quit. And after several years, they finally told me, John, you're not gonna quit. You're not gonna do right. But now I'm getting trust back with my family members, the ones that got left. I lost a lot of them in death. My older brother, well, one of my biggest support for years. He always tried to help me, but I would never listen to him. And he always told me, John, words are cheap, but actions is will. And I gained a lot of trust from him now. I'm getting back in contact with him. And life is good here, Not only here, out in the free world. I did away with all my places, people, and things. It led me down the wrong path. I go to outside meetings, go to just about every meeting here. I can't ask for much better. This is my home now. I'm going to be here for a long time. I thank each and every one of you. And just give a higher power, just give him a chance in your life. He will work it. Might be slow, might be fast. But over time, it will work for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Cricket.
My name is Adrian. I'm a member.
Hey, Adrian.
And I'm sober today. They talk about the tornado and shattering relationships. I was never really a tornado. I was real selfish, but it was more of a passive aggressive. As long as I paid the bills and I was taking care of the relationships with my kids and my wife, I thought I was doing okay. They knew I was high, but it didn't matter much. And as I got more distant, I walked away from them. or them for me, or both. I'm not even sure at this point. But when I finally decided I'd had enough, I'd go weeks without talking to them, checking on them, or seeing them. I went to detox in Houston when I talked to Chris and came over here. I was here for 3 weeks before I let anybody know where I was at. And it wasn't odd for them, which was a big red flag for me. I've got 9 grandkids. And after being here and getting settled in and working the program and letting it work for me, I was able to help out with the back to school. I have my oldest grandson got accepted to University of Texas. I was able to get him a vehicle, which is probably good because I was going to bring it here. I haven't seen anything good happen when people get a vehicle here. Yeah, so not only do we redeem ourselves with this relationship, not only are they rebuilt. The best thing that I did, the best relationship that I was able to salvage, was the one I had with myself. Because once that happened, then everything kicked in. You know, I was able to love myself. I was able to believe in myself. I was able to be more confident in myself and what I was doing. And now that I'm able to sponsor people, it grows exponentially. So I just work the program, just get into the program, and I tell the guys and the helpers, just stay long enough for the miracle to happen, whatever you have to do. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Anybody got a burning desire?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
go down the middle, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Hi, son. Hello, my name is Zachary. I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic.
Zach.
We feel a man is unthinking if he says that sobriety is enough. It's a really important thing for me, right? Because I could take drugs out, I could take alcohol out, but I'm still there, right? I can go to any job in the world and get fired. Hey, son, come on. I can go to any job in the world, and if I fail to comply with that job and get fired, I can blame the people, the work environment. I can blame just about everything there. But in the end, what it was me, myself, and I, right? It wasn't ever just my drug of choice. It wasn't ever my drink of choice. It wasn't all of the outside substances I used to cope with me. It was always me, right? I'm the biggest problem with myself. And until I could separate and start cleaning it out and start using those steps to find some different thought patterns and different learned behaviors, I'm going to stay in that same cycle. See, I have almost 4.5 years sober, right? Clean, whichever one you want to say. Very happy for those. But when I stopped putting action into that, when I stopped working in the areas that helped me step away from the old lifestyle, those same things started creeping back up in my life. You know, I'm here at the Hopper House right now. The reason being is because I'm separated from my wife. The reason being is because she looked at my phone and found pictures of other women in my phone. That's cheating. I'm married. I took those vows seriously, but when I stopped going to church and I stopped going and sponsoring people and I quit reaching out to a sponsor and I quit preaching and I stepped away all completely from the word of God, all of those old behaviors I had had for 30 years, they shot up real quick right back into my life, right? It wasn't the drugs. It wasn't the alcohol. It wasn't the use of some other substance to cope with me. It was me. So if you think in that moment that if you're sober, you're good, I got out of the penitentiary and I'm good. I didn't use for 5 years in there. I'm solid. I got out and I went straight back to tequila, like with it. I'm sorry to mention specifics. I went straight back to my Kool-Aid of choice. Need help, son? And what happened was I went right back into the same cycle, same thing over and over and over again. So I'm giving you a testament right now that if you sit down and do nothing, nothing will change. Nothing will change. You're going to go back to your hometowns. You're going to go back to the home city. You're going to go back to the same relationships. You're going to go back to the same usage. You're going to go back to the same sales. You're going to go back to the same psych wards. Only thing different is you might find a new burial ground, and that's real. We're drug addicts and alcoholics, yes, by definition, but we have a sinful nature, and what that sinful nature dictates is if I continue to walk in my crud, I'm going to track mud everywhere I go. And the same goes true for anyone. So if I think to myself that I'm sober, that's enough. Well, then that's all it is. Just dry. And I'm going to die. I'm going to die a miserable person. Right now, I work every single day. I am blessed to have good communication with my wife. I don't take my ring off. I get my kids every day. I openly admit where I fall short. Lust of the flesh, it got me. Yes, truth. I'm facetious. Yes, truth. I think I know it all in times. Yes, truth. I gotta own up to all that negative stuff in my life that completely separates me from the sunshine of the Spirit, or I'm not gonna change nothing. So my advice to you as you read this little bit of chapter is you go a little more into it and realize the tornado could be a sober tornado. You could be a clean tornado. You could be sober and clean for 15, 25, 35 years, still causing chaos in your family's life. It takes a change. Sitting down in a meeting is not going to keep you there. Participating, maybe talking to someone and changing someone else's life is going to change their life, and it changes yours. Thank y'all for letting me share.
Thanks,
Thank you, Jack.
I'm Gordon. I'm an addict and an alcoholic. Clean date of 4/11/26. How do I follow that, man? It says, I'm gonna go a little bit off of that. Y'all talked about ruined relationships and spirits. The spiritual life is not a theory; we have to live it. They say Corinthians 5:7 says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." And I think a lot of us in our lives, we walk by sight. You know, we try to lead the way, but a lot of times we're walking blind. You know, we don't know where we're going. We're leading the wrong way. And I was the same way for a long time. And I ruined every relationship I had. You know, ruined them, like just burned that bridge altogether. And but at the same time, I started to, instead of walking by sight, I started walking by faith. And I learned who God was, and I started following God. And just like it says, you have to live it, you know. And I live God in every part of my life these days, you know, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And in just the short time that I've been here, the one relationship that I never thought I'd mend in my life was with my father. And I recently spoke with my dad, and he said whenever he left, you know, it was either sink or swim. And he's like, but from what I've been watching and what I've seen, the growth in you, he's like, man, he's like, you can swim your ass off, you know. And it's all because I started walking by faith, and I started living God's will, you know, doing God's will, and every single day just doing what He asked me to do, you know, doing the next right thing, as they say. And you've got to, you slack off for 1 second, you just lose concentration, bam, you're right back in it. You know, you got to stay focused. You can't slack off with this. It's a lifetime commitment here, because he said he could have 30 years sober, you know, or 5 years sober. And like, if you're just living sober, you're not doing it right. You've got to live it. You've got to not just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. So, just keep your heads up, keep going at it, man. And if you keep faith, keep God first, man, and do it every day, you're doing it right, and you'll make it. That'll go. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I'm Drake.
Drake,
I'm just grateful to be back and grateful.
good to have you back here.
Glad you're here, Drexel.
Good evening. My name is Thomas.
Hey,
I'm a
Thomas.
member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I like the honesty. I like the confessions, and I like they're not stories. They're lives led. It's a confession of things that have happened to folks here, and I hope that everyone learns from it, learns from the things that are said here. I've been here 3 times. Teddy's a letterman here. Zach's a letterman. I consider these folks, you know, I say letterman because you can use this facility for what it is. It's a rejuvenation. It's a restart for some of us, and some that had to learn the hard way. You gotta walk through the fire to get through, you know, the salvation. And I hope everybody finds it. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
I'm Robbie. I'm a member.
Robbie.
24, 26.
Yeah, I'm Tony. I'm an alcoholic.
Tony.
Been sober since 7/22 this year. At the end of our reading, it says the spiritual life is not a theory; we have to live it. And I know for an alcoholic like me, that's really true. You know, I can't just go to some meetings, and even though I love meetings, you know, that's not going to keep me sober. I think it really is about living a spiritual life. So I'm grateful that I'm here, and this place reminds me, and this meeting reminds me that that's what I need to focus on. That's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
I'm Paul. I'm an alcoholic drug addict.
Hey, Paul.
And my clean day is 7/7/26. You know, at the time, I didn't realize that I was an alcoholic because all my relationship I ruined them. And I would always tell them, you know, I'm just having fun drinking. But their relationship, my family, my friends, you know, I just ruined their life. And since I've been here, I've kind of now know that I am alcoholic. So by me being here, following my steps and helping me realize it, and I did it first. That's all I got.
Thank you, Paul.
My name's Johnny. I'm alcoholic and addict.
Johnny.
My sobriety date of July 17th this year. I already got nothing to say, much to say on the topic, but just want to say it's Friday. I hope everybody has a good week, but hope everybody has a good weekend, and we all be blessed today.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny.
My name's Matt, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Matt.
Much like a lot of y'all, you know what y'all said about the tornado just ripping through people's lives. You know, with the hurtful things that I've said and done, but you know, some of those that were on my 4th step and then showed up on my 8th step. You know, some of those are ones that, you know, I know that I'll just have to, what do you call that? They're not around to make those amends. I'll have to, you know, how would you say that?
Living amends.
Living amends, you know. But I also liked what Adrian said. You know, this is a selfish program, and this is something that I want. You know, and the spirituality of the program is what I find myself really grasping, the getting outside of myself, because I'm so selfish. I was so selfish in my addiction, and still am in some ways. But I get a lot out of helping others, talking to others, and that's what I like about this program. You know, I told my PO, you know, this is a 6-month program, but I see it as it's a lifelong thing, you know, and I want to be here at the Hopper House longer than 6 months because I really am getting a lot out of this program. But man, I enjoy being here, you know. I think about like when I'm at work having a rough day, I can come back and grab somebody, you know, and I get a lot out of this program. So with that,
thank you. Thank you, Matt.
My name's Kerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey.
Real deal alcoholic. All alcoholic, not some alcoholic, not a little alcoholic, all alcoholic. And I didn't get here for the reading of this, man, but this part of the book, Into Action, is talking about sexual indiscretions, like cheaters. You know, who in here's a cheater? Yeah, all the rest of you liars. So, you know, and then the roaring tornado part of that book is the husband coming out of the storm cellar, and he says, the wind stopped blowing, but everything's flattened. The trust, the relationship, the respectability, the loyalty, the honesty, all of these things are wrecked in our lives. And the alcoholic comes up and he said, all I got to do is stop drinking and I'll quit cheating. Stop drinking and I'll be reasonable again. I'll be consistent. I'll be trustworthy, and and that's a grand design, and that's what that's the idea, the high idealism, right? But it's not true, right? When I started drinking and drugging, I stopped growing emotionally, spiritually, right? And the mechanisms I use to justify my action and my behavior are still there, right? I got sober 6 years ago, stayed sober for 9 months, and continued to run my life through an alcoholic mindset. What came out the other side was mean, mad, and miserable, and 9 months later relapsed and almost killed myself when I fell off a roof. Then I came to the Hopper House. I stayed here for 3.5 years, and I began to take suggestion. I was doing one thing I'd never done before. My life, I know how to live it. I'm doing just fine without you. I can wreck it by myself. And I began to take suggestion. And drinking and drugging, the stopping of that was just the beginning, right? I had to learn how to be consistent, how to be reliable, how to be trustworthy, how to be dependable, right? I had to learn how to vent my emotions, stress, anger, frustrations. These things took work, but I didn't grow from the couch, right? So when I got into a situation that I usually resorted to with loud volume or assertive behavior, I said, okay, God, what do I need to do here? Right? And these new principles I operated in, I was clumsy in them. I fumbled them. I didn't know how to operate with them consistently and reliably, right? And then sometimes I would lapse back into that old behavior because it was comfortable, because it got the ends, right? And I got to what I wanted established, but I continued to operate in them, and I got proficient in them. Did it happen overnight? No, it didn't happen overnight, right? But it began to become second nature, right? And truth is, man, when I started drinking and drugging, I did it because I liked the way they made me feel, right? On the weekend, after a long week, I'd drink and drug, and I liked the way it made me feel. It was a social lubricant. It was liquid courage, But over a period of time, somewhere in all of that, I continued to use because it made me feel the way I liked. Do you hear the subtle difference there? It's subtle, but it's there. I used in the beginning because I liked the way it made me feel. I continued to use because it made me feel the way I liked, right? Somewhere in between starting to use and continuing to use, I didn't like me very much. And if I don't like me, I can't like you, right? I've got nothing to offer you. And so as addicts and alcoholics, we use, we take, we strip, we consume, but we don't contribute. So every relationship I ever get into, the resentment is where we wind up. Maybe my spouse or my girlfriend or my wife or my friend wants to contribute to my life, but I just continuously take until I've exhausted their resources, their patience, and their goodness, and then they get resentful, right? And then it's bitter. Everything gets bitter. And then, I begin to justify, well, I'll just cheat because I'm not getting anything intimately from this relationship anyway. So I'll go do this. And that's the justification mechanism. And we got to begin to correct those things. And that can be a difficult process. And the book tells us, there is a solution, and starts on page 17, that there's got to be conversations, medical, psychiatrical, and spiritual, right? And these things by their very nature are controversial. And the book says we would like to have wrote a book that wasn't controversial in any way, right? But the life of the alcoholic and the addict is just that. It's controversial. It's contradictory, and we have to stop being a walking contradiction. We have to start subscribing to some type of permanence, right? And so I didn't say this, but I heard it once, and I repeat it as often as possible. The book says we got to have a spiritual awakening. Some of your minds probably just slammed shut. Spirituality, blah, 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 blah. But this is the best definition I know of spirituality. To being where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And we can all do that. We can all say, man, it's a simple definition. I can participate. I can practice those things. You're at the Hopper House. There's a meeting every day of the week. Oh, I've been here 90 days. I don't have to make that meeting. Yeah, you don't. But something you say may contribute to turning on a light for somebody else. Would you rob them of that? Right? The book says we must freely give what was given to us. Right? I didn't earn this. It's but by the grace of God that I don't drink and put a needle in my arm today. But by the grace of God. Right? And it is by God's grace and God's power that we stay clean and sober today. Right? Not mine. So if you're struggling with that, man, then just use that definition. And if you think your God isn't sufficient or adequate to relieve your obsession with drugs and alcohol, borrow my conception. Right? If you want to know what that looks like, come back, talk to me after the meeting. I'll tell you what it looks like.
Thanks, Dave. I've asked someone to read promises.
Sammy, I'm a member. Let's read the promises. The promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace, no matter how far down the scale we have gone. We will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Work. Oh, no.
I've asked someone to hand out the sobriety chips.
My name's Mike.
Mike.
Alcoholic. 6/25, 26. Here at the Hopper Houses and clubhouses around the world, we celebrate links to sobriety with chips. The first chip is a desire chip. This chip won't keep you sober, but it may keep you from drinking. Does anybody want a desire chip? Here you go.
All right.
What's your name? Zach. Zach, what are you gonna do with that chip?
Make sure that I don't look for brown side of the road.
There you go. Danny. Danny, what are you gonna do with that chip?
My name is Danny, and this is just to remind me that I'm gonna take it day by day.
Right, Danny.
Oh yeah, come on. All right, the next chip is. What are you gonna do with that chip, John?
Stay off alcohol.
There you go. All right.
Oh yeah.
Would anybody else like a desire chip? All right, the next chip is a 30-day chip, a 1 month. You're learning to trade hangovers for hope. Anybody want a 1 month? Somebody somewhere. Next chip is a 60-day chip. 2 months. Your liver is writing you thank you notes. Anybody got 2 months?
Somebody somewhere.
Next chip is a 3 month chip, 90-day chip.
Yeah.
Change more than the weather.
My name is Thomas, and I'm a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. 3 months. Going once, going twice. Nobody? Okay.
The next chip is 4 months. Anybody got 4 months?
Somebody somewhere.
5?
Somebody somewhere.
All right, 6 months chips next. That's half a year sober, proof that program is working. 6 months.
Somebody somewhere.
Anybody somewhere? 7 months.
Somebody somewhere.
8 months.
Somebody somewhere.
A 9 months chip. 9 months. You could have had a baby instead. Anybody? 9 months. Wow.
Somebody somewhere.
All right, 10 months. 11 months. All right, and the 1 year chip. If you got more than a year, your name goes on the board, and we celebrate it every fourth Friday of the month. All right.
All right. Hey, guys, before we get out of here, before we say all this other stuff, I lived here for 3.5 years, and that was 5 years ago. A little over 5 years. What, 6 years ago? Right? Because I was here when Ryan got here, and Ryan had a year when he got here, so it was about 5 years ago. And Ryan today has 6 years sobriety. Y'all believe that? 6 years.
I'm not going to say much because it's the end of the meeting, y'all, but I do want to just, share a little bit of experience, strength, and hope. The only way that you can get sobriety is by taking it one day at a time, one situation at a time, working what you have to work on. And, time gets all confusing and mixed up in that because, that whole rocket into the fourth dimension thing, eventually you're just looking back and you're going, hey, I got some sobriety time behind me. Eventually you get to where, that little rear view mirror that, you look back and you see all this troubled stuff in, you get to look in that now, and that troubled stuff doesn't take up as much space in it. So just realize that your sobriety, as long as you're involved in it, is something that you get to appreciate. Your recovery is something you get to appreciate. You get to look back on. So just look back on your recovery, y'all. Don't worry about looking back on the trouble.
Thank you, Ryan.
My sponsor.
This meeting has been designed to last about an hour and a half. So we're going to go ahead and close out in usual fashion.
All right. I want to hold your hand. Say it ain't so.
Excuse me. I don't want to hold yours because I know where it's been.
I hold hands. Hey, thank you. I want to hold somebody's hand. Me?
My enemy, guess where it's been.
I've been getting everybody. Come on in, guys. We get on this side. Come on.
It's so tough.
Just close it in over there, guys. Okay, everybody. Who's Father?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Keep coming back and work. You work it. You work it. You work it.
How building? How building?
What happened, bro? What happened, man?
Hey, baby.
Is he? Yeah. I'll talk with him out there.
Stay clean.
You be back in leadership.
Let me add. A paper. Okay. Hold on, let me add.
I walked in there and turned around to go back.
So just build it back up, man. We're on your team. You move it before you go. Should be excited, bro. All right, guys.
Tomorrow, does this work? Well, in the morning, I have to take about an hour somewhere, I forgot, and I go to work. Tomorrow? Watch out, Ricky.
They got it already. Grab the box to the back. No, back here. You're not doing more. All the way outside. What the hell how are you gonna get to the we're gonna do
All these. Oh, yeah. You got clean?
What?
Meet me up here, smoke station. I got yeah, you don't got.
I always don't use this one, they're good everywhere.
Okay, you don't use that one?
That little hairs fall off. One section piece, just all the way across.
Blue. Oh, he's already gone.
Good.
You're good.
You got my hat?
Oh, yeah, it's on the table in the house. I was trying to find you. You know where I was. Oh. We had a huge, all these things, we had a huge floor like this for conferences. Yeah. He said, go in here, ready to talk.